All right, cheers to another Thursday right here on Click Naija Internet Radio. Is your favorite program, Voyage, where we get around the world to talk about holiday trips, tourist attractions, safety tips, and everything that concerns tourism and hospitality. My name is Jennifer Ogo on the program, and the question is right there on your screen, staring at you, waiting for you to, start making your fingers busy and answering, the question. Well, what will you do if your visa gets denied? That is what we want to find out. Perhaps you've had one or two experiences. You could kindly share that with us. We would really appreciate it. Like right now in this country, where everybody's trying to seek for a plan B. Tonto Dike has said you can still make it while, you know, being here in Nigeria. But for most people, it's like unbelievable for them to even think that Nigeria should be plan A and to plan Z, like for them making it here and getting really successful for some people is not even an option, not even pick traveling out as an option. Well, depends on what you want out of life and of course on what you want to get out of life. So what will you do if your visa gets denied to any country of your choice, like right now? Maybe you invested a lot, you've really put in all your blood, sweat and tears to make sure that you be in that country at this time, and unfortunately because of one or two mistakes you made, you couldn't get that visa. What will you do? Sometimes plan B can become plan zero. Yes, it is life, and it can be heart wrenching, trust me, when disappointments come knocking on your door. But rejection means redirection. I'm telling you, sometimes if you want to look at it the other way, around, it's a cause to correct your destiny. Sometimes that it causes correction to your destiny. So the fear of rejection is even worse than rejection in itself. Just try it. It's better you fail than not even to try at all. So what will you do if your visa gets denied right now? Now there are different forms of visas, from student F1 visa to tourist B2 visa and a medical visa. At least these are the most common types of visa application, especially here in Nigeria. Now, visa denials based on non-immigrant intent. The application process for a B2 tourist visa is fairly straightforward. The last thing the US government wants is for this to become, an easy means of entry for people who actually want to work in the US. US is one country to that could be quite difficult to get a visa. So if you are planning to visit America, or for whatever reason, maybe for immigration, reason, you have to know what you're going there for, and you really have to be careful and pray that they give you visa. Yes. So um like I told you, there are different reasons why visas could get denied. There are different reasons, all right? And I told you that for you to come to the US now, as for a tourist visa, is a B2 visa, you know, if you want to live there for a long term, that's a totally different situation. Now, for this reason, every applicant must show their non-immigrant intent as a tourist now, or prove that they are really planning to act like a tourist and leave on time. Yes, so for some countries like US and other countries, your tourist visa is between like 2 to 3 months here about most of the time. But in order to prove this, there are some evidences that you need to put to the table to prove that okay, you're just there to visit for vacation exclusively. The reason for your trip must be pleasure. Yes, so you don't go ahead saying you're going there for health purposes or for whatever. Just to make them feel like you're going there to stay. Let them know that you're going there to spend a go. Obi Kubana vibes. By the way, he just came back from the Maldives, and I couldn't stop. I think one day we just talk about the Maldives because that is one tourist attraction that most people look forward to. So, if you're applying for a B2 tourist visa, your reason must be exclusively for pleasure. Then you plan to visit to stay in the US for a specific limited period of time. I told you. So as a tourist, you don't stay in the US for a long time. You have sufficient funds to cover your expenses while visiting the US. It's very important. If there is no proof that you have enough money, to sponsor your vacation, they will definitely deny your visa. You have compelling social and economic ties, in your home country, such as school, jobs, family, etc. So there is something to bring you back. So if you have a job, for instance, and you know that definitely you would definitely come back to, earn a living, they would grant you, you know, a visa. And finally, you have a house, apartment, outside the US, as well as other binding ties that will ensure your return when you are permitted to stay over. They really want to see that you have the cash here. So the reasons for a B2 tourist visa denial could be: one, visa denial based on fraud. So looking at the list of items you have provided for the US tourist visa, for instance. So I'm actually going to be using the US because it's one very difficult country to go to. Seriously, I do not know why. Trust me when I tell you, I don't want to start giving you the nitty gritty of getting into the US. It's quite difficult. You really need to brace up to, go to that country and get a visa. So, some applicants attempted to either lie or cover up certain facts. So, if they notice that you are fraudulent, they will definitely give you and deny the visa. Then visa denial based on criminal records. So I'm actually giving you reasons why a tourist visa now could get denied. Citing an example from, US visa denial based on criminal record. So if you have a criminal record or history or any links, with terrorist groups, there is a strong chance that your visa will be denied. So imagine someone like, um yeah, I'm actually going to say his name because it's trending online. Abakari seeking to visit the US, for instance, and there've actually been some shady stories about him and, some illegal activities. They would definitely might not grant him that visa. So I'm actually citing an example. So visa denial based on past immigration violations. So if you have overstayed your permitted time, in the past visa or the period of time you visited the US, for instance, it will be difficult to persuade the consular officer that you won't violate the visa regulations like this time. Like, it will be so difficult. So it's better you just, well, if you're a consistent visitor, I don't think they would know that, okay, you visit for a particular period of time and you get back to your home country. But if they notice that you do not, anytime you go there, you just spend like maybe extra 2 weeks, and they have to start searching for you in order for you to return. The possibility of them giving you a visa back to the US, for instance, now is very slim. Finally, visa denial based on other grounds of inadmissibility. So, the US immigration laws contain a long list of reasons that people may be found inadmissible or ineligible for a visa or a green card. For example, if you have an illness of public health, such as tuberculosis or even COVID, or have been removed from the US in the past, or a drug abuser, or you're an addict, all this could actually make them to deny you a visa. So recently, I went to run a COVID-19 test in a private hospital in Guarimpa, and you just have to run that test in order for you to travel out because if you have COVID-19, you definitely not be allowed in that country. Now, how to deal with a rejected visa application? F1 visa application. Now, this is an example. Number one is to understand why the student visa was rejected. So when I'm talking about F1 visa, I'm talking about student visa. Most Nigerians prefer to travel out through school. And when they get there, they abscond. So this is very common, amongst youths, and you should definitely listen. So if your visa application is being rejected, you need to know how to deal with it. There is no setbacks that are permanent, all right? You just learn from it and move on. Number one is to understand why the student visa was rejected in the first place. Yes, You could make mistakes, but it's not permitted to make that same mistake twice. So there can be many reasons behind the visa rejection, like I've told you. If you succeed to figure out the problem area, like what caused that visa rejection, then the next step would be to rectify that problem. On the other hand, if you fail to recognize what went wrong, or you just precaution to the media do not care what happens next, you know, you bear the consequence. There are some common grounds based on which a student visa could be generally rejected. Number two, I'm just educating you how to overcome a visa rejection, especially an F1 visa rejection um, application. Number two is to overcome the problem. So if you are successful to establish the reason behind the previous rejected visa, definitely you would have known what made them reject the visa. They will actually let you know. All right. So that's why it's advisable to actually seek for advice in the US Embassy, for instance, regarding these visa issues, because they would really tutor you on how to go about it. So your second step would be to find out the solution, to that particular problem. Yes. So in a case where you are unable to identify the cause, it is recommended that you consider the timeline of the visa applications. So timing matters for an F1 visa application. You have to know the particular time you should definitely apply. So early application have higher chances of being accepted. The visa officers are loaded with a huge pile of visa applications, like everybody just wants to, go abroad and school. You're not the only one. So you should not be vulnerable to late visa applications, because you would automatically be rejected. Like, there is no hard and fast rule about that. So early visa application is advisable. Really, really, it's important to apply earlier. Number three is to reapply for the student visa. Like I told you, all hopes are not lost. Disappointment, failures are inevitable in life. They are part of life experiences, but learning from them, that's what makes you stronger. And of course, you just become an expert in that field. So apply for the student visa. There is no harm in that if you can, because it costs a lot. So you may apply for the same country, but if you have multiple rejections from that same country, you can look for a study option in another country. Yes, like I told you, US is very, very stubborn when it comes to granting visa applications. Seriously, for anybody looking forward to going to the US, just don't lay all your eggs in one basket, because you might get disappointed. Countries like Germany or Australia could be like another option in case you get rejected, you know, in the American embassies. So Australia now, for instance, they are very encouraging when it comes to schooling in their country. Like, they have high value for education, and of course they offer high quality education. So if you want to school in Australia, it's easier for you to actually get a visa, in the Australian embassy than in the American embassy, if you're actually applying for an F1 visa. Now, many students prefer to go to Germany as well, for their higher education. Now, these countries have many high ranking universities according to researchers on the top universities list. So the visa process for this country is actually quite easier as compared to the US. Now, some common reasons that student visas are denied could be lack of financial proof to support the student's education and life in the USA. You see a lot of students saying, don't worry, when we get there, we'll look for a way, we'll work, that, we'll seek for financial support and that. Seriously, it might not be as easy as you think. The fact that it worked for Tunde or Motunrayo or Adamu doesn't mean that it will work for Obi now. So you just have to be prepared financially. So what you have in your bank account needs to speak for you. Like, your bank statement needs to be really, really weighty. Seriously, I mean, if you have that alone, it's quite convincing that you're not going there to be a nuisance. You're not going to their country to be a nuisance. So the possibility of them granting you the visa is very high because of your bank statement. So yes, so lack of financial proof to support your education could be the most common reason why student visas are denied. Number two is missing or incorrect documents. So you need to be articulate, you need to be up to date with documents, the required documents you're supposed to provide for your visa application. Now, the consular officer is not convinced or does not have any documented proof of a student's intention to their home country after completion of their education. So you need an objective, like you need that mapped out correctly and accurately of your intentions now while finishing the school back to your home country, because they actually don't want you to be in their country. They want you to go there, acquire all the education and the knowledge you need, come back home and develop your country. Yes, so failed background check would be another very common reason now for visa denial. Behavior during interview or failure to explain answers to the consular officers could be another reason. So you just need to conduct yourself. Come to me if you need if you need a presentation coach, or you need me to just run some sessions with you and take out all those nerves and build the confidence in you and really face the consular officer right in the face and just get on with the session, so you have a flawless interview session. So if you need that, you can actually come to me. I'm going to give it to you for free, courtesy of Click Nigeria's Voyage program. Don't mind me, guys, I'm kidding. So, if you're just joining us, the program is Voyage on Click Nigeria Internet Radio, where we go around the world to talk about tourist attractions, holiday trips, destinations, safety tips, and everything that concerns hospitality and tourism. And on today's episode, we are talking about visa denial, how to deal with it. So, if your visa gets denied, we want to find out from you. What will you do? How will you feel? Like, in all honesty, tell us what you will do. Like, will you go ahead, to start sulking, or you're gonna try again, or you're gonna blame village people? Or what basically will you do? That is what we want to find out on today's program. And so far, I've been highlighting some common reasons why F1 student visas, could get denied. I've talked about lack of financial proof, you don't have a strong bank statement, incorrect documents, failed background check, your behavior during the interview session with the consular officer. Another reason is inability to provide a convincing answer during the interview. So you just need to be smart, emotionally smart, and of course, your body language, you're reading it. So if what you say doesn't tally with your gesticulations, it could be a problem during the interview. Another reason is inadequate language or communication skills. So you need to speak rightly for them. It's not by your funny. They just need to understand what you're saying, and they need to know that you're understanding what they're saying to in return. Now, failure to explain the reason for choosing a particular course or university could be another reason for a visa denial. So this is where your statement of purpose comes to play, your letter of intent, whatever. To the school that you're applying to, you really need to now spell it out now to the person interviewing you, the interviewer, as to why you want to study that course. Finally, on the occasion, there is no reason given as to why student visa is denied. Sometimes they do not give you a reason why your visa is being denied. Like, I can remember one of my aunt, back in the day, she needed to visit her son in the US, just to visit. Like, she works here, she's like over 40 years old, like 50 something thereabouts. And obviously, she wasn't going to America to stay. She just needed to visit her child. And they denied her visa, like, for no reason. Like, didn't grant her any reason. I think she reapplied for the second time. They still denied it. This was the fourth or the third time they granted her the visa. C'est la vie, guys. Such is life. But you just need to keep trying again if that is what you truly want. Yes. So I'm actually going to do a recap for the benefit of those just joining us. The program is Voyage right here on Click Naija Internet Radio, and we're talking about how to deal with visa denial. I don't know if this topic is actually boring, but it might be helpful to you sooner than you expect if you're actually looking forward to implementing your plan B of traveling out. This might come in handy, and you need to just take a pen and jotter and just jot down some of these details I'm telling you about visa application or even visa denial. So let me just do a quick rundown of what I've said from the beginning of the program. So if your visa is denied, it does not have to be the end of the journey. Yes, I told you, you can always reply. In fact, some individuals, they've they've applied for like the second or the third time, and maybe the fourth time their application gets approved. So make sure you do your research, or you listen to what I'm telling you right now. Understand the reason for your denial is the first step in having it overturned. So you will receive a notice stating the reason you were denied. Sometimes you don't, but you could try again. So the State Department provides a list of ineligibilities, so you can learn more about your specific reason for denial. There may be steps you need to take before you reapply. So if you're hoping to receive a different result, for example, make sure you provide any new documentation or additional evidence that is necessary to overcome the previous ineligibility. This could include a financial record, property statement, educational record, depending on the reason for the denial. Above all, never lie or misinterpret any information in your application. So don't be telling the consular officer 1 2 3 and your application is written ABC. It doesn't make any sense. So what you are saying should definitely go with what you have, in your document. So um entirely, if you're applying to the United States, it's not as easy as compared to other countries. It's actually quite easy to apply for an F1 visa now, for instance, to other countries. But if you really truly want to go to the United States, I would advise that you seek their advice in the US Embassy there. They have all their staff to guide you through, the visa application process and your interview. It could run for like some weeks. Just be patient enough and go through. You don't feel like your money would get you that visa, or the knowledge about what you're going for could get you that visa. Sometimes it might just be little mistakes that would just make them deny that visa. All right, it's important for you to stay informed and follow the correct procedures and processes. You might soon be on your way to obtaining a higher education abroad, for instance, or get that visa, whatever you choose to do. Many thanks once again for watching. I really appreciate all your commitment to Click Naija Internet Radio. We are on all social media, or major social media networks now, talking about YouTube, Instagram, Facebook right there. Twitter, we are Click Naija on. Which unfortunately we are not operating. Our Twitter handle is pending, of course, you know the reason. But our website is at www.clickninja.net. So far, we've been playing old school blues and R&Bs, hip hops. From beginning of my shifts around 1400. That's 2 p.m. West African time. That's when my shift starts. We've been playing cool old school music. And of course, you can listen to us via MixLR through our website is at www.clickninja.net. Voyage comes your way every Thursday. Remember, hit the like button, make a comment if you can. I'll really appreciate that. All right. Once again, my name is still Jennifer Ogo. Let's do this some other time. Bye bye. See you next week.